Hello and welcome to all the participants on today's session. What we want to talk about today is how portfolio management software is a part of a smart city platform, or how it can present one of the key elements of a smart city platform. The fact is that cities own substantial amounts of real estate portfolios and also are responsible for 30 to 40% of business activity. So therefore, city governments are basically one of the largest real estate managers. And moreover, at the same time, those portfolios are very large, and the administration itself is quite complex. So there's lots of different institutions with their information and databases of real estate, which are usually not aligned or not joined in one database. So there's difficult to have a total preview and to really manage efficiently such portfolios. So that's why I invited today with us an expert from this field, Mr. Boris Koprivnikar. He will present himself a little bit later to help us understand the smart city infrastructure itself and how PropTech can upgrade and enhance the data and enhance the added value that the smart city platforms can bring to the city. So this is basically what we want to talk about, and I would like, just for the beginning, Boris, if you could say a few words about yourself, who you are, what's your mission, what you work on.
Thank you, Clement, for invitation, for kind introduction. And I would just say that even my basic education is information scientist. I've been the whole work career working in public sector as a manager of a public institution. Then later, I've been running the Association of Public Institution, which is a completely different setting. I've been, I can say, blessed with the 4 years as a member of government, which was responsible for the public administration in wider sense, and including also the digital development and digital transformation. And last year I'm working as a consultant, and I'm specialized in smart city area, smart government, e-services. So in the public sector, where we can effectively use modern digital technologies, and not only technologies, also the business models, know-how, and this is my direction, and also, let's say, my passion to improve the public sector with the modern digital tools.
And you started this in Slovenia, or focused primarily in Slovenia, and we'll talk later. Now you also, of course, have a broader consultancy mission. But just to begin with, to say, how do you become a smart city expert? What is needed to, or how do you become?
As always, if you want to become an expert, you have to study, learn, read, listen. Yeah. If it's possible, learn as less as possible on own mistakes and understand others. But how I see the smart city and working with the smart city is it's very broad topic. So you need to know about how the public bodies are functioning. What is the infrastructure? Which are the areas that public bodies or one city have to cover, which is extremely broad. So basically, as I understand the role of smart city expert is that you know enough about all the areas of the city that you can connect them. And that's the key mission of the building of a smart city.
Mm. And yeah, I mean, smart city, as we say, it's quite a complex concept, and usually quite an abstract concept, which is quite difficult to comprehend or to understand. So how would you put it in the simplest way? What is a smart city?
Well, as always, I learned in my career that when you're dealing with a complex system, you have to make it simple. So it seems logical, but it's maybe not so simple. But important is that you don't deal with the complex material of the smart city in one piece. So we usually slice it. We slice it at least on 4 basic levels, which are part of my own methodology. How do I approach to that challenges? And that means that first you have to be focused on the management area, on the organization area. That has nothing to do with the technological part of the smart city and so on. So who is deciding? Does decision makers have enough information to really take a decision, even they are not experts in digital technologies? Who is coordinating all processes in the city? So one level is organization. The second level are processes. If you do not connect by your internal rules or everyday's work, your processes that they are really connected in one big flow, then it is not worth to digitalize it. Because if you digitalize bad processes, you will get out bad digitalized processes. The third extremely important part for me is data. Not so much applications and software, but data. Where is the data? Who owns the data? Is this data accessible? Do we understand it? Is the data about one thing, only one, or do we have more data about the same thing which are not synchronized and so on? So the data discovery, data description, data lake building, if you want, and so on. And then the last question, of course, is technology. And technology is then when you know what you need and how you will do it, then you can select, I don't know, IoT network, cloud infrastructure, some kind of a server infrastructure. But you first need to know, if I like to use analogies, if you're buying a car, you first need to know who is driving. That's organization. Who is the chief? Second one is what is the process? So where we are going? What is the path that we are following? Third one is, if you buy a vehicle, do we have a fuel for that vehicle? So data is the fuel. And when you know these questions, who will drive, where we go, and what kind of a fuel we will use, then you select the car. Then you buy the technology. And this is our approach. And to make it simple, also, we regularly use one very, very simple and extremely effective ground for decision making. And this is ground only with 3 questions. One question is, will people like that decision? Do they enjoy it? Do they will take it and like to use it? So the likable question. The second question is with this decision process software, am I personally or as an organization more productive? That means, can I do faster the work? Can I do better the work? Can I stay less in the line when I'm going in the morning in the work and so on? That's productive part. And the third question is the solution sustainable? So are we improving and protecting our resources for the future, or are we damaging our living, working environment? So this is very easy to follow through the sustainable development goals. And these are basically questions which are decision ground. Shall we or shall we not introduce some kind of a change or new solution in the smart city area?
Yeah, sure. So basically it's about a strong technology, which is a backbone probably for the data gathering, data exchange, and data availability as an open source platform. Then it's about the right application, as I see it, as the right applications which translate data into insights, actions, and usable tools. And of course, as you mentioned, it's important that the public administration understands and accepts the way of digitized and more efficient working. And also the other important aspect is the public adoption. So the public also needs to then easily understand, easily access, and start using the whole infrastructure through these applications to enhance more optimal environment for work, for leisure, and for living in the city. So this is what adds the value to the city. If we read for example, the McKinsey study report on smart cities, they project that for example, with smart traffic, the commute will decrease for 15 to 30 minutes on average. Employment rates will go up 1 to 3%. Then expenses are going to drop 1 to 3%. Water consumption decreases even 20 to 30% with smart water metering. Gas emissions go down, and so on and so forth. So a lot of benefits. Even the crime would decline for 30 to 40% with better smart cameras, monitoring, and all the IoT technology. So there's a lot of applications of smart city, a lot of improvement in the life of citizens. But for example, let's focus again. Let's get back to the real estate portfolio of a city, which is usually huge and very complex. So how do we manage this? How do we handle this? And how do we enhance this in a smart city platform? Which do you see are the key pain points of a city when planning the management of real estate portfolio?
Well, as all the areas that you mentioned, for example, again, analogy, if you want to have an efficient traffic, we have to connect traffic lights, public transportation, private transportation, car sharing, bike sharing, roads, weather, whatever concerns traffic in one system. Then you can officially manage traffic. So the pain point in the real estate management in the city is exactly the same. We have a lot of real estates. We have different departments that they take care each about their own real estates. And then they have organizations that are managing this real estate, which, for example, city is owning. And then one is dealing with the legal part, with the ownership, with the landing premises. The other is dealing with the maintenance, with the upgrading. The other department is dealing with the, upgrading infrastructure and maintenance and so on. So we don't have one system. We have sometimes dozens of parallel systems, and it goes until the system is not too big. But when you want to improve on system level, then again we go to the original question: is who is deciding about the improvement of infrastructure? Of course, the city government. Can they decide? Hardly, because they don't have enough data about the all infrastructure. They have to ask different departments. Then the question is: are the processes connected? When I do the maintenance, can I do it serially in more physical premises? I don't know, because different departments are managing them. Do I have the data? Do I have the legal data and the maintenance data and the cost data all in the same system? Usually not, because part of the data is the financial system, part of the data is maintenance system. And then on the end is the question: do I have unified technology, unified software, unified data to provide the whole ecosystem for real estate management? And the biggest pain point is to collect the data, again, to connect the processes, to persuade people that they have to share the financial data with legal department, legal data with maintenance department, maintenance data with the legal department, because they are all interconnected. And if you share this data smart, then everyone can do their job much better. It's much better legal overview, is much better cost overview, which can have legal consequences, and so on and so on. So connecting everything in one system is a nightmare. And this is usually, if you want to do it, it's realistic, you have to do it top down, but with a lot of cooperation from all mentioned departments and services that are connected to the real estate management.
Yes. So basically it's complex, as we already mentioned, but it's doable. So we are working together on with at Imagine and you as a city consultant on the specific smart city platform in the municipality of Ljubljana, so in the capital of Slovenia. And yes, it's also, I can say from my perspective, it's quite a challenge because there are so many institutions. Each institution have a bit their own rules, their own logic of tracking the data, managing the data, and there's a lot of disinformation or poor communication between these different institutions and departments. So all the processes takes really long time. So if somebody needs to have a legal issue settled, they need to go to another department, maybe on another location, to get the physical contract to see what's inside and what are the, I don't know, contractual relations in order to go back to his job to start working on some changes or relations with certain parties. So it's quite I would say analog type of work still in the municipality. So we are trying to switch to the digital. I mean, all in all, the property technologies are becoming more and more important, and cities are becoming more and more aware of the value of their portfolios which they have. So they will need to start considering implementing property technologies. What are the technical sides or challenges in implementing portfolio management or property technologies to integrate them in the smart city platform? Are there any specific technical requirements? And on the other hand, also, what are the end user requirements in respect to how the applications or solutions should look like?
If I try to go backwards as you mentioned those topics, first, end user requirements are support my work, support my goals. That's end users demand. Now, if I am working as a city clerk with the responsibilities, if I work in legal department, I have to be support with all legal acts. If I am working in the maintaining department, okay, I need all the data about the budgets, the timelines, and so on. So supporting my work, or if I'm just a citizen using or landing premises, I need to know the information connected with this. Then you mentioned that smart cities recognize the technology. It's lately the huge boom about smart city solutions is not because we just said, okay, smart city is fine thing, let's do it. It's because cities are becoming so complex that they cannot be managed in the old-fashioned way, even with a lot of digital solution, but not separately, not in different areas. So we need some integrating tool, and this integrating tool basically is smart city. And when we talk about the software functionalities, it have to focus on different functionalities for different purposes, but all together in one software and one interconnected database behind it. We don't even want to know everything about everything. I need to know only what I need to know for my job to be done. So and somebody else need to know about his job, like we say, finances and legal department, but they are interconnected. And if they need some information from the other department, as you mentioned, it doesn't matter if they ask it on paper or digitally, but if they have to ask it, can you provide me this data about this real estate? That already means in the second point, process is not connected. When I need information from legal department, it have to be there because it's part of my task or my needed information for doing my job. And if I need it regularly, that means that legal department information, which was entered and maintained in legal department, is automatically available to me, that I can do my job, even if I will not change it. So the whole solution that we see is basically not so complicated. Basically, it says we need to have one software which can support the whole data set for everything what's connected to the real estate management, and also the whole data set that is interesting for other areas, and the source is real estate management. So it goes in both directions. I have to have access to the data, and I have to open my data to other services. Then we have a standard component of a smart city. So if we have one software with a wide variety of functionalities for all purposes, behind with one integrated database with all the information in one place, or at least by one order about the real estate, then we have one single, very simple to use system, very easy to maintain. And the only question is not what we have now and what do we want. The question is how to get there. And I know that that kind of assistance exists, and your example is one of the modern example of integrated real estate management from the all aspects. But in the cities, we have to take a decision. We will use one integrated software, one integrated database. So do it. Now we go department by department, database by database, and transfer it, everything in that new database. When we do this, then we are on the safe side.
Yeah. Well, thank you. What I also meant is like we offer our software as SaaS, so as a cloud solution. This is one aspect of technology, which is, I believe, very much important since these days, in order to be flexible and to really enable data access on any device from anywhere. This is one important segment, I believe. And the other is the type of the technology used for designing the software. So it's the most simple user interface for end users to be. So that's why we decided to go for web softwares, which are modular, which are flexible and adaptable to different screens, to different devices. So we in this way, we want to enable employees to access their data anywhere they are. So they don't need to be at their workspace. They can be in the field. They can be working from home or from anywhere. So I believe this is also an important aspect, even for city administration, which sometimes is a bit more conservative, and they need to work in the office. They don't probably support work from home that much as maybe other companies, but still this gives them the flexibility and the empowerment to use the data more and better.
So if I may just comment this, why it is also, by my opinion, very important is first, to have software solutions provided as a service. For me, it's very important, especially for public sector, because usually they cannot hire or pay, or they don't have very strong information department with a lot of experts that can do their system. And on the end, it's not their job. The job of local community is not to develop digital solutions. Their job is to do the public services. So that kind of a model is okay, but you have to have exit strategy. You cannot never put the local community in the position that they are totally dependent on one provider. It doesn't matter how good and good intentions are. And the best way to be on the safe side is that the data structure, data location is very clear to the local community, that they can always take the data and put it in some other solution. So the data is the most important part to be on the safe side. And when you said to access the information, yes, today with mobile smart devices, you can never put the client in the position that they will follow the data. Data have to follow the client. So it's all online, it's all accessible, and that's very easy then to adapt. Or I work on the field, or I work at home, or I need some information at 2 o'clock in the morning. Okay, I can always get it, no problem. If I have my ID, I have my access, I can always find the data.
Yeah. This, as you mentioned, gives the flexibility and the freedom to the city to choose the provider, to choose the technology, to choose the system. And here we come also to the business model. So it's becoming more and more common for such softwares to be leased. So this gives you an opportunity to change the provider if you are not satisfied, or if you need another kind of solution to support your processes better, or on the other hand, to have it scalable. So you can scale it based on how many users you use. So if you include more institutions, you add users. If you lower down your portfolio, you can cut down users, and then you can also manage the cost. So you can really predict the cost of the software, and you don't have any extra expenses, as usually these licenses or user accesses come in a package. So I believe this is also an important part to stress. Maybe just to wrap up, smart city platforms are very popular, very much talked about recently, and are very much becoming a reality. From your perspective or your line of business, what are your next goals, missions? What are your next interesting projects you are working on? Where we'll be able to see your work?
Well, I like to work with the local communities because they have all problems like huge companies. Only that on technologically they are maybe not on some advanced level. So this is the area where the most let's say improvement can be done. So this is where I find my work as a useful and welcome. The second is that I work a lot with the so-called smart governments solutions, free flow of data on the Western Balkan. I do work with some countries in the East. We do have some projects worldwide in Emirates, in even the Curacao, for example, is one interesting project. So all over the world. But what I'm trying to say is that we can talk about e-government or smart cities or I don't know, my company to be better run, but on the end we are talking about smart community concept, which is always the same. With those four pillars that I mentioned before, if I organize myself, I have a connected processes, I have all the data accessible at one point, or at least accessible, and then I have a functional technology, I can solve any kind of these problems, but always with the same principles. And the principle is gather the data, understand the data, connect the data, and then build modern, cute services, mobile services for end user citizens, for city administration or management in the company, and also for outside sources connecting with I don't know, government, chamber of commerce, and so on and so on. And then you have a good solution that really improves your work, because it gives you better data for better decision making, and it let you that you spend less time on the manual work, so you have more time for creative work. You have more time for analysis, decision making, conceptual approach, and this is the reason why to use the information tools. And as I always say, digital solutions are never the goal. They are always just a tool. Digital solutions are always just a tool. So smart use of a very powerful tool can improve my quality of work.
Great. Thank you for this conclusion, Boris. It was a really interesting discussion again today with you, and I hope there's more to follow. I wish you all the best with your interesting projects, with your future work with smart cities, and of course we are always there also from Imagine, pleased to get engaged and to do our best to support the local and the country or government communities of the central governments. So thank you again.
Thank you.
If there have been or will be still some questions of the audience, please post them and we will be glad to answer to you, and we will give you also our contacts in case you want to reach to us. And thank you for listening, and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.